You're listening to Living at the Highest Level with LATHL.
You're listening to Living at the Highest Level with LATHL, Cornelius, and today we have a special guest, Katrina Dorn. She is a tax professional, real estate investor / entrepreneur. Katrina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am actually very excited to listen to all your knowledge that you're going to provide to our listeners about how to save money, what to do when you have funds available, and just some of the tips and tricks to really, be able to save money and where to cut back. Because a lot of people, they just get stuck in the routine of spending money and just overlooking small things and small methods that they could be really saving their money. So what do you have to touch on that?
Well, I think it's kind of a 3-step program. So first off, you need to look at your budgeting. At the end of the day, if you're looking at, let's say, making $1,200 every 2 weeks, you don't have many expenses, maybe a small car payment, a little bit of insurance, you should be putting away 25 to 40% of your paycheck into a separate account for your future, whether that be buying a new car, buying a house, investing in stocks or mutual funds or anything like that. Budgeting is the number one key to get where you want to be in life. Obviously, the A-team, they're all about sales. Let's make as much money as possible. I'm here to tell you what to do with the money and how to use that money to get you where you want to be in life.
We have to also remember that these are very young adults, very easily enticed by the shiny objects that are available to them, Katrina. So
highly emotional people.
So I guess the easiest way to answer your question would be looking at me as an example. When I was 19, the first thing I did was I went and got a credit card. I made sure that I only spent 25 to 40% on the credit card, the utilization of it. So let's say it was $1,000. I only spent $250 to $400 on it each month. I made sure I paid it off each month and really tracked my credit rating. From there, a couple months after my 20th birthday, I had enough money saved in the bank, high enough credit rating to actually go out and buy my first house. So,
how old were you?
20. So, while everyone else was out partying on Friday and Saturday nights, I'm not saying that I didn't do that and I didn't have a social life. I'm saying I made sure I set myself up for success, and it's very easy to do. It might not be common knowledge, but it's something that anybody could learn and anybody is able to do, and I want to actually show people how to do it.
Perfect, because I don't think there's a lot of institutions right now. We certainly aren't learning it in high school on what to do with your taxes and how to manage your personal finances. So,
well, I think a lot of people just in society are just, like Katrina said, so inclined to just go out, spend money, have fun now, YOLO, that type of thing, versus save your money, utilize it, use it as a resource, as a tool to propel yourself to a position that you're not really worried about money as much.
Correct. That's exactly what we want to show people at KMD Accounting, how to do it, how to actually go out and utilize your money to have 3 properties by the time you're 30, to be able to retire by the time you're 40, and to ultimately set yourself up in life.
And where did this whole journey start for you regarding taxes? Like, when I listen to you talk about taxes, when I talk about taxes, I'm just like dreading it. But when you talk about taxes, you're like the most enlightened, super fired up. And that's amazing, because when someone's fired up, they got good knowledge. So where did the whole tax passion start for you?
I kind of pretty much started when I started work. After I turned 18, I got a job at Revenue Canada, and I was going to Simon Fraser to actually be in marketing. And then I was kind of looking at my lifestyle, and I knew that one day I wanted to have kids, and I obviously wanted to be a mother. And with being a mother, obviously comes having to be able to work at home and to watch your kids. And I thought about it, and there were 2 jobs out there that I could work. Number one, I could become a fisherman, or I could become an accountant. Both jobs allowed me to work 4 months out of the year and make the same amount of money and be able to support a family. Technically speaking, I really don't like fish, so I went the accounting route.
That's funny.
I was in business anyway, so it made a really quick transition. And working at Revenue Canada, I actually found out that I was really interested in taxes, and I kind of became a tax geek.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So taking all that...
Dad, would you have chosen the fish or the accounting?
To be honest, I would probably have chosen neither. Accounting is just too much numbers for me. I have a set of skills that do not go well with fish or numbers.
Well, taxes aren't just numbers. It's what you can do with the numbers and how they can actually help you. How you can write off all of your expenses if you're a commissioned employee, how you're making sure you're writing off your tuition, and how to actually utilize the taxes to get where you want to be.
It's really interesting that we bring this up because a lot of our reps on the A team are young adults, and some of them are as young as 18. And being exposed to that type of information at that age is key. Because I remember when I was in first, second year of university, no one really talked about that. They talked about corporate taxes and how to do a balance sheet, how to do a bank reconciliation, but no one really talked about if you were an entrepreneur, where could you really utilize some of these strategies and how to do it in your own life. A lot of schools and institutions, we always teach you how to do things for businesses and other jobs.
How to do it for a job, how to do it to get a job, yeah.
But they never explain how to do it for you, which is why I'm so excited to have you here, Katrina. You talked a little bit about budgeting and cutting back, but, for salespeople, for our guys in particular, they don't really have too much expenses. But what happens is when they see a big paycheck, they just automatically think it's the signal that just goes spend, spend, spend.
And that's why my biggest advice I could give anybody on the A team is a system of, hey, I get a paycheck automatically, whether it be an auto debit, meaning it's automatically withdrawn out of your account, or whether it be I actually open up my bank account, take 25% of my paycheck, and transfer it straight into a different account. This way, it's untouchable money. You've completely forgotten about it, and instead of having that $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 paycheck, it's reduced down to an amount that you should be spending every 2 weeks.
So if we're saving between, was it 25 to 40%? You said?
Yeah, correct.
So how much should they spend on food?
Technically speaking, a person. And now this is on the high end, especially because obviously you guys are going out to eat all the time. You guys don't want to cook meals at home. You shouldn't be spending more than $350 on food every 2 weeks. And that's actually a really high number, considering the fact I feed a family of 4 on $600 a month.
That's amazing because I know some people spend at least upwards of $50 a day just on food for 3 meals.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys are spending that just eating out.
That's correct. And that is what I see with most of the A team. And it's the number one killer of your actual savings account. Because at the end of the day, all you have is food in your stomach and it's getting you nowhere.
But I think a lot of them, what happens is they get misled that a lot of that's just going to be a write-off.
Yes, I agree. But you got to think you're still spending the money. The money.
You're spending $1 to save 35 cents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in terms of other cutbacks, what do you recommend? Because you see some of the guys that have come in and use your services. Where do you see opportunity for them to really cut back and settle down a bit?
Definitely number one with the spending of food. So, maybe staying at home, making yourselves lunch and taking them on the road. Number 2 is bank fees. Most of these people don't actually see how much they're being charged. They're being charged $1.50 per e-transfer. They're being charged at least $14.95 a month for a bank fee on top of actual debit and credit bank transaction fees. Some of these people are paying upwards of $200 a month just to do personal banking. What I like to normally tell people is go to a credit union, somewhere where they don't charge you fees, and at the end of the day, that money's left in your pocket.
Wow. And I think, a lot of salespeople get in that mindset, though, Katrina. They're just, I'm selling, income is coming in, I'm doing great, so I should be spending it. Time is money, I shouldn't be cooking. I think a lot of people get in that state of mind.
I completely agree. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, where do you want to be in life? And anybody can make money, but what can you do with that money? And, money in, money out means nothing at the end of the day. A person could make $150,000 a year and have nothing to show from themselves, and that's why you actually have to know where the money's going, know what to do with the money in order to supplement your lifestyle.
Yeah, I can speak on that. 2014 was a very, very prosperous year for me. Actually, it was 2013, 2 years in a row of high income. I went from making 30 to breaking six figures at 23, or touching six figures at 23. And I can tell you that at the end of that first year, there was literally nothing left, right? And it was, well, there's a little bit of savings, but realistically compared to how much money I earned, and I didn't have a ton of expenses either. We're talking like very little vehicle expense, very little rent for the year. So I can tell you right now, more money's not going to solve your issue. And for the gentlemen on the A team and the ladies on the A team who listen to guys like Grant Cardone and a lot of the other speakers that say, like, don't waste your time making breakfast, things like this. That guy is further ahead than you are. He already has his millions, right? And you can't emulate what he's doing at this moment in time because you aren't where he is at this moment in time. So double dip your time. If your time is money and you don't want to spend a ton of time on cooking, you got an audiobook you need to listen to. Do both at the same time, right? You can double dip your time and save yourself the money. And it's not forever, right? Now's the time to dig deep and use your willpower to do all of it. To make your own meals, to sell and study every single day, to hit the gym, to have the entire lifestyle down pat, and dig deep. Yeah, you're going to be tired at the end of the day. You're going to be tired at the end of the week. But at the end of the day, you're going to hustle now. You're going to pay now. You're going to pay later. Do you want to be living in mediocrity, or do you want to be, party now or party later? I'd rather party on a boat when I'm 30 than party now at a wait in line at some club.
I hear ya.
Yeah, a little bit of pain now and a little bit of sacrifice now. It's not going to kill you, and it's just going to open the doors up for what is possible for you guys down the road. Buying your first house in your early 20s, that's significant. And then having multiple homes before 30. Like, real estate is one of the fastest ways to becoming a millionaire this day and age. And especially in Canada, there's just so much opportunities every single day. But I think what happens is people get so short-sighted.
I completely agree. No one wants to actually grasp the opportunities that are out there for us. People just think it's too difficult, or owning a house is just way out of the picture at this point, that they don't actually see how easy it is with our low interest rates, small down payments that you have to have, and the availability to grind for work nowadays and make the income and actually be able to sustain a lifestyle. It's the opportunity is out there for you, and you just have to grasp it.
Yeah, and now is the time to start. Really is.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, not 20 minutes down the road. It's right now. It's the way you're approaching your life. It's how you wake up and what you're willing to do today and prepare. That's going to really set you apart for your future. And what I think a lot of these guys need is just a wake-up call. It's just a realization that, guys, you have an opportunity that can generate a huge amount of income determined on just your ability and your dedication, which is huge.
I completely agree.
Like, we have people that on track to do six figures.
Our average for the last 4 months was over $5,000 a month commissions.
Yeah, and the bonuses that we paid out were tremendous amounts, Katrina. It's mind-boggling.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're not including bonuses.
Yeah.
That's an average, too, for a sales business full of 18 to 23-year-old starting salespeople. So our average employee will somewhere in the vicinity of 50 to 60 grand this year. And these guys are 18 to 23 years old. They have almost no expenses. Yeah. And, I mean, show me a job that these guys who go to university and college are getting out and making that money. Because if you really add it up, no expense, no rent, really you're looking at an income of $70K.
Yeah.
Right?
Cell phone provided, internet provided.
Oh, yeah.
Cars
Cell phone provided, too.
Cars provided.
Yeah.
Gas provided.
This is one of the best jobs
Training provided.
I've ever seen, actually.
Mentorship provided.
Like, I was thinking when I was 18, and when I was 18, it was roughly when? 2000.
Years ago. You're old as shit.
I'm ancient at this point, but when I was at 18, like, I was looking for opportunities. Like, I did whatever it took. I was working 8 hours a day in the mornings at a call center, and then I would be delivering Chinese food for 6 hours at night. and I would make nowhere near as close as what these guys are getting. And I had to provide my own gas, my own cell phone, and my own vehicle. And I didn't learn as much as I learned at the A-team. And these people just really need to take a step back and appreciate that opportunity, because this is your door to making millions.
It's definitely a good starting place.
It is an amazing starting point. And for the guys that are taking it serious and the guys that are making those sacrifices now, this is where your life is going to change.
Yeah, totally. So let's move it along, shall we? Katrina, you've obviously, we've got a bit of an agenda for our talk today. What do we want to kick it off? So let's give salespeople, not just people on the A-team, but in general, a commissioned sales individual, some advice.
Number one advice for commission employees is keep your receipts. I cannot stress how important it is for tax purposes to have those receipts to be able to write off. Just by writing off $100 in expenses, some of these people are looking at a return of $25 to $35 per every $100 written off. So that's 25% of the price that you're paying on these expenses you get back on your taxes. And
What about my credit card statements, though? What's because that's the argument I always hear. Well, no, I keep my credit card statements, but from what I understand, you need to actually have physical receipts for a certain percentage of your write-offs. Is that correct?
Correct. So Revenue Canada needs actual copies of your receipts. So, and when I say actual copies, I mean when you're going to Subway to get a sandwich, they need the copy of the debit purchase, but they also need a copy of what you actually bought there. Without this backup, they do have the ability to disallow all of your expenses. Technically speaking, if you're missing one or two, that's okay, and you have the majority of them. But without these actual receipt backups, you're filing your taxes on nothing, and Revenue Canada will just turn around and say, unfortunately, you didn't keep them, you don't actually get the write-off.
Is there an amount limit, Katrina, that the cost has to go over? Like, can you write off like $1 coffee? Just examples, just so people know.
It depends. If you are traveling, so if you are more than 100 kilometers away from your work, the place you would actually be going to work every day, you get to write it off. That is a meal and expense of travel. If you're just on your way to sit in an office and be a commission employee that way, no, you do not get to write off your actual meal. You get to write off meals of taking two people out for dinner to show a client your product, or to try to win the sale, stuff like that, if you're in town.
Wow.
Cool. I like it. All right. So keeping your receipts is, I think, point number one.
So now that you have your receipts, what's the best way to organize it?
Well, the best way to organize them is to keep them all together per month. That way, when you're bringing them to someone like an accounting firm or...
They're not a mess?
Yes, not a mess, Corey.
Yeah, not like mine.
Please write this down, not a mess. Whether that be in a shoebox, whether that be in an envelope, or whether that be in a garbage bag that you drop off at my front door, we need the actual receipts. Best case scenario, you can also use, I know KMD Accounting Services, we offer a toolkit, an Excel spreadsheet that you can put them all into the Excel spreadsheet and organize them that way. Also, that helps with, obviously, monthly tracking if you're looking for budgeting. At the end of the day, as long as they're separated month for month, that's all that really matters.
So now we talked about keeping your receipts, making sure that they're in order. And a lot of people, especially young people in sales or young people that do any type of jobs where there's commissions involved, make sure you actually file your taxes and make sure you find a reliable accounting source.
Can we talk about your, I'm not going to name any company names here, but your standard green buildings, that do taxes that we all see commercials for? It's like Peasants Tax Services, just on the corner of this block and that block. If we know what kind of companies we're talking about, why not use your standard, mainstream tax services that you see advertised all the time?
What Corey is getting at is essentially you get what you pay for.
I completely agree. You need to find someone who does this day in and day out, someone who's going to work for you to maximize all of your expenses and actually go above and beyond and turn around and say, hey, Corey, did you know you could write off your cell phone? Did you know you could write off licensing fees? Did you know you could write off parking? I don't have any of those. Someone who's going to give you the availability and options to actually go through everything to maximize your tax return at the end of the day and give you the knowledge. Anybody can type numbers into a computer. It's what you can do with those numbers and how they can produce the results of a tax return is what matters.
Katrina, I got a personal question to ask you.
Yeah.
Is taxes to the government subjective? Because it seems like a lot of different companies or different entities have different levels of quality. And it seems like even if you file your taxes, it could be different from one company to the next.
At the end of the day, an expense is an expense. And so all companies have meals. All companies have vehicle expenses. All companies have, obviously, purchases for cost of goods sold, meaning these are the supplies it takes to actually produce income. At the end of the day, though, a real estate agent and a Subway would have different expenses. And it's what expenses you're using to create income is what matters. So subjective, no, but personalized, yes.
Okay. And the only rule about taxes is record every cent that you earn, right? That's really the hardest rule there is.
That is correct. At the end of the day, most companies nowadays, even if you're a self-employed commission employee or even a self-employed construction worker, most companies nowadays that you're working for actually start issuing T4A slips or T5018 slips. So they're actually reporting to the government how much money you're actually making. So the government knows beforehand how much money you actually have. And no one here wants to income evade. It's very important to report all of your income because at the end of the day, there are expenses you can write off on that income. And you get in huge trouble for not writing off, for not claiming all the income you make.
What are some of the ramifications of that?
Well, for example, if you're a T4 employee and you forgot to file a tax slip in 2014 and you think, oh, yeah, doesn't matter, I'll just leave it. Revenue Canada already knows the tax slip on file. And then you do it again the following year, or you've done it in the previous 3 years, it's a 20% penalty of the amount that was not reported. So if it's $10,000 that you forgot to report, you just paid a penalty of $2,000 to the government.
You can't escape the government.
And you shouldn't be trying in any way. It's extremely important. Most people, if you think about it, you need income to purchase property. You need income to buy a house. Why are you trying to income evade and not actually report the taxes? Because at the end of the day, the income is going to help you sustain your lifestyle. You need that income in order to buy things. You need that income in order to live a life. So, I mean...
What are some of the tools, Katrina, that are out there that the government provides? So I know that there's RRSPs and TSFAs and things like that. What do you recommend putting money into?
It really depends on the specific person. For younger people, I obviously tell them, put money into your RRSPs. Number one, sometimes if you work for bigger companies, they match your RRSP contribution limit or contribution deposits to a certain amount. Also, as a first-time home buyer and any young person or even older people, the first thing you want to do in life is buy a house. You can withdraw up to $25,000 tax-free out of your RRSPs. So meaning when you put the money into your RRSPs, you get the write-off on your taxes, so you don't pay tax on that amount. But then when you withdraw it, you don't have to add it back to your taxes if you're withdrawing it to buy a qualified home. Because of this, everyone should be really utilizing this tool because at the end of the day, the tax write-off you're getting is 25 to 40% essentially of that actual money. That's free money in your pocket.
So make sure you buy a property before you buy a nice, shiny car.
I completely agree.
Okay. So now your taxes are good. You got your receipts. Katrina, what's next? What's some of the other things that these guys can do?
Number one, come to someone quarterly. Don't bring all of your receipts into an accountant at the end of the year.
Man, I'm guilty of that.
Number one, some accountants actually offer incentives to clients who bring stuff in quarterly, meaning cheaper prices sometimes or better service. Number two, all of your receipts aren't being done at once, so you have actual personalized service throughout the year. So why don't you utilize your accountant? Why don't you ask the questions you need? Why don't you ask them to put all your receipts in to give you a comparative summary in the last 3 months of how much money you've spent, to see if you're saving the proper amounts, to see where you can cut back, to see if you're missing out on any huge expenses that we can cut back on. Also, very important to file your taxes on time, because there are different types of credits, such as the GST credit, MSP premium assistance, child tax if you did have kids, guaranteed income supplement if you're older, that you are not qualified for unless your taxes are actually filed.
On time.
On time.
Got it.
Yes.
Cool. Very cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit what you're up to right now? So you are obviously self-employed, running your own business around tax advising and accounting, these kinds of things. What are you doing? How many property? You own a couple of properties now. That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, and you're younger than 30.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about your properties. How did you come across them? How many do you have right now? That you have 3 between you and your husband?
No, I have 2.
Okay.
I will have 3 before my 26th birthday next year.
There it is.
Did you say 26th birthday?
Yes.
You're a 90?
Yes, I am.
Oh, shit. Damn, girl. I didn't know that. I
Yep.
thought you were older than that. All right.
No. So my first property I bought at 20, and I kind of touched base on it a little bit earlier. So obviously I was in a situation where I was making about $40,000 a year. So I had the availability, the credit, I had the enough income, and obviously enough of a down payment in order to solely go in without a parent cosigner, to actually solely go in and purchase my own property. I mean, it was in the $200,000 range, which is a condo in most areas of the Lower Mainland nowadays, other than Vancouver. And so I lived there for a couple of years, and then we bought a townhouse just 2 years ago now, and I'll be in a full house by the time I'm 26, renting out the other 2.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you.
Holy smokes.
Thank you.
Dad, I think she has both of us beat, bro.
That's the power of persistence.
That's amazing.
Well, I got a house, so I'm cool right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right.
Honestly, I don't say this to brag or anything. I'm trying to show you how easy it actually is to do. Just with a little bit of hard work, honestly, things that...
A little bit of self-control.
Completely. And I'm not saying you have to give up your social life. I'm not saying you have to give up those Friday nights hanging out with friends, those Saturday nights. I'm just saying don't go crazy and know your limits.
Like, there's so many things to cut back on. Like, eating out is a huge one. And clothing. I think clothing kills people.
Oh, it does.
Like clothing, just young people love to buy clothes. And they love to live that flashy lifestyle.
Yeah, but where are you going to keep the clothes if you don't have a house?
That's a big point right there. I think a lot of people overlook that, Katrina, and they just want to be in style.
Completely. So be in style and invite people over to your new house.
But being broke is never in style.
No, it's not.
No, it isn't.
So, Katrina, like, for you, you've been motivated, you've been, capable of investing in real estate. Like, how much of that has really freed up your life now? Can you just touch on that point, just so people realize, like, the benefits and just the opportunity that opens the doors for you now that you're settled in?
Oh, and she drives a Lexus, too. It's not like she's living like a pauper now. And, so just saying.
26, 3 properties, rolling in a Lexus. It's pretty high level, very high level.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the compliments. Honestly, I am at a point now in my life where I turn around and I have friends who are struggling, who are looking to buy houses, who are just finally getting out of that party stage and realizing, what the heck, I have to move out of my parents' house and I have to actually pay rent. And I'm at the point where I'm taking rent checks to the bank from my tenant, and I'm sitting relaxing in my house, being able to pay my bills and still actually have the fun money now that I can go out and travel. I can take my family to Disneyland, where I'm going next week, by the way. Very excited, not going to lie.
Disneyland.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 kids, so it's a little bit different too. But I have the availability that if I want something, I can go out and buy it at this point. And because I set up the foundation, because I set up where I want to be in my life, and obviously it is real estate, one day it will be commercial leasing, I am able to get the things I want the same way a 18, 19, 20-year-old does, except...
They can't afford it.
Correct. I'm living the lifestyle that everyone dreams of. And honestly, it's not hard. It is not hard to do, and anybody can do it with a little bit of determination.
And self-control.
I'm so re-motivated by this, or re-inspired, if you will.
They must have been like, Katrina, we don't see you at the club. And you're like, I don't see you at the bank.
Oh.
Man. So, Katrina, like, you're a tax professional. How did you, go to school, save money, pay for your schooling, and then become a professional?
Okay. Well, unlike most kids who had a part-time job and worked a couple days a week, I worked 50 hours a week. I went to school full-time, and I worked my butt off to obviously pay for school. My first 4 years were actually on a full-paid scholarship, so that did help me out because of a lot of volunteer work and different things I was involved with as a child. I was obviously able to get a scholarship to school, which did help. But I also I made sure that school was one thing, but school was guiding me into where I wanted to be in life. And you go to school to learn what to do at a job. And the way I looked at it is I should be grinding and working while I'm going to school in order to have the money that when I do graduate, I'm not living on student loans. I have no debt to pay for, and I have the availability to actually buy a house.
Wow. Preach, girl. Preach.
So, Katrina, give us what are some of your goals? Give us your 5-year vision, or your 3-year, your 10-year, however you personally work for your goals. What's the vision? What's the bigger picture for you? Give us like your 18-month picture, and then maybe your 5-year or 10-year picture.
Okay. Well, goals in my life are very important. I think they're fundamental for anything anybody does in life. If you have no direction, you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get anywhere, and you're going to be spinning your wheels. Some of my current goals would obviously be buying a house next year. I also am expanding my business, so I want to double my business by June 2016. From there, I want to look into getting an actual commercial property where I can actually have an office outside of my basement, because it'd be nice to actually go to work instead of having to go downstairs. Obviously, that's cutting costs right now, and it's a smart decision because I have young kids and they're not in school yet. But both my kids will be in school in 2 years, so I do want to have an outside office that I go to. Obviously, finishing my CPA, which should be done shortly if I ever go back to school. Knock on wood, that's going to be soon. I just have to stop having kids, honestly. And then from there, at the end of the day, I want to, as much as making money is important, as much as going out and finding these properties is important, my goal is to help people and inspire people to do good in their life and to get where you want to be. I have the financial tools, I have the knowledge, and I have the ability to show people how easy it really is. And stuff like this talk show, stuff like I want to open up some blogs and different things of how to inspire people and how to show people that financial freedom is achievable.
That's so key. It's achievable for all. It's not, biased to any person. It's available to anyone that chooses to make the right decisions.
I completely agree.
And going back to what you just said, like regarding your own business. So you're a mother, an entrepreneur, a tax professional. You're doing so many things, but you're doing everything, the right way. You're not over leveraging yourself, getting a commercial property right now for your business, because you can utilize what you have. And I think that's key, because people always think that, I'm not there yet because I don't have this. I'm not there because I'm not done school yet. So they're always deflecting to the future. Well, I'm going to really focus when I'm done school 4 years down the road, where I can be hustling today and really making the strides needed to get to where I want to be.
That is exactly what I was trying to say. That sounded perfect.
And Katrina, did you have any mentors that you really looked up to, or that that you saw as a really good example of what you wanted to follow?
Well, I've read a lot of books and listened to a lot of public speakers and motivational speakers and people who are doing well in life. And there's no one in particular that I can completely attribute my vision to, but it's basically taking the knowledge from people that I've heard, some people who have already done it, and taking what they've said and applying it to my own lifestyle. Anybody can tell you to do something, but you have to, at the end of the day, cater it to what works for you. And personally, obviously, people in my life, family, friends, different colleagues that I work with, or different people that I meet in the industry. I take bits and pieces from what they're doing well in their business, what they're looking to do in their lives, and find a way that suits me to get where I need to be in my goals. So finding that knowledge from different types of people everywhere, I guess.
Did you read any sales material?
Did I read any? No. Some, not really.
Because you sold me today. Like, I mean, wow.
Yeah, me too.
I'm fired up. I'm just thinking.
I've already been with Katrina for a couple of years, so I was sold a while ago.
Aw, thank you, Court.
But that's so important because a lot of people think that, oh, I don't have the resources in my life. Like my parents aren't rich, so I can't be rich, which is completely opposite.
And I definitely do not agree with that at all. I came from a single mother. My dad left us when I was 8, and she worked her butt off to keep her house and pay off her house and, instill good values in me. And anybody can do it. This isn't you were born with money and you're just going to stay with money, and people who are born into a certain poverty line or a certain income level stay at that level. It's the people who want to actually go out in their life and do something with their life and show greatness.
And there's no excuse, especially in this day and age, where everything is so abundant. Like, we live in a society and a culture that if you want to go do something, there's so many resources that are available. You want to learn something, go on the internet.
Completely.
You want to go meet someone, go try to meet them.
Or go on the internet. Yeah. Yeah, there is the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen. There is don't let anyone fool you. Is there an astounding amount of corruption and war and crime? And sure, right? That stuff's always existed. Now is when you have everything at your fingertips, right? I'm reading this Napoleon Hill book from 1925, and he's saying, this is the golden age. You can go to a library and read about anything you want. I'm like, man, this guy is so appreciative of the fact that there are libraries in 1925. He's like, you can learn how to do anything by going to a library. I'm like, man, I don't even need to get out of bed. I can use my phone and I can hop on YouTube. I can hop on, hell, just things like Google or whatever search engine you're using, and you can find so much information, right? Some of it's corporate bullshit, but a lot of it is really amazing, empowering information. Don't settle for anything less than your dream. Don't settle for anything less than what you actually want. You just got to find people who are already doing it. That's why I'm talking to Katrina about buying my first property. That's why I surround myself where I got mentorship from Richard on being an executive. That's why I talk to guys like Pat Cross about my health. Find people in your life who are doing what you want to do in any particular area and get advice from them. Don't follow a broken formula. If your teachers are making $60,000 a year and they've never run a business, don't be learning about business from them, right? If your phys ed teacher is a friggin' old man who's out of shape and whatever, don't get fitness advice from him. Be very careful who you get advice from. Pick people who have that category of life down and study them and learn from them. It's really that simple. It's a working formula for life, but then you have to be teachable. So Katrina's been giving me advice for 2 years. It's just recently that I started actually taking it, because we all have our habits, right? And money is the hardest habit to break, for me anyway. But people have habits with food. People have habits with everything. You have to be willing to change, or else it's not going to make a difference.
I think you have to be capable of adjustment. I think sacrifice is the wrong word. I think adjustment is the right word. I think we can still have all the luxuries we want, but just in moderation.
Yeah.
Delayed gratification.
Healthy balance of everything in your life.
You can still go out and eat, but maybe just do it once or twice a week versus 5 days a week. Yeah. Right? Earn it. Right. Set a goal of hitting sales numbers or hitting your targets, and then celebrate. And then celebrate again when that money is going into your savings account. And then celebrate again when that amount is enough for a down payment. And then go see Katrina. She'll do the rest.
All right. Speaking of that, what about going to see Katrina? How do we make that happen?
Yeah, Katrina, how do people reach you?
Any listener, by the way, this is not just for people who are working with the A team. It's for anyone. How can people reach you? What services do you provide, and how can people reach you?
Okay, so I provide tax services, so personal taxes, which includes proprietorships, self-employed, which is a proprietorship, different employment expense employees. Also, corporate taxes, payroll, GST, estate planning, financial planning, budgeting. Pretty much anything to do finance-wise, I'm here for you. I'm your girl. They can contact me on Facebook, KMD Accounting Services. They could check out my website, www.kdaccounting.ca, or pop me a text, give me a call, 778-989-6592. I'm here to help 7 days a week, pretty much 24/7. I mean, I like to sleep past 6, so please don't call me before then. But other than that, I'm good to go at any point.
Katrina, we want to thank you for your time. It's been very insightful, a lot of knowledge, and thank you for giving everyone inspiration because, again, you're a mother, an entrepreneur, a tax professional. You're doing everything and everything all at the same time. So thank you so much for giving us the time of day to speak to you. And guys, if you're listening to this podcast, make sure you check out Katrina. She is high level. And I approve that message. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks again for tuning in to Living at the Highest Level. We'll see you next week.